Was killed in St. James, WASA worker shot at head office compound in St. Joseph, and internationally warnings of a summer COVID surge as infections rise. And now the news in detail. The body of little Kamani Francis was found by villagers in the Guapo River earlier today. The 2-year-old wandered off from his home in T-Share Village, Point Fortin, around 10 a.m. yesterday morning. He was last seen walking only in his pampers and barefooted in the road outside his home. His mother had no idea her child was missing until police showed up at her door. A neighbor who noticed the child walking along the roadway alone was the one who called the police. That resulted in a massive search for the child. In other news, a mother and her 12-year-old son were murdered in Pinal. They were stabbed to death around 3 a.m. this morning at their Lachu Road home. 31-year-old Abby Okujo and her son, 12-year-old Levi Lewis, were killed hours before their bodies were discovered. Police are looking for a suspect said to be a relative of both deceased. The father of the murdered woman spoke, and this is what he had to say.
Because he breaks your hand. He breaks your hands. I tell she might have reached a stage because he breaks your hand already. And if a man break your hand, and you can happen. Sorry, it hurts to know you don't have a grandson and a daughter one time.
What did you look done?
Well, when he come here, it's shocking, and then he tell me bandit, but after that, he tell me, you father do it.
What he say?
He tell me...
What he say he did? What he did? What he used?
A knife.
And he did what? How many times?
But you know how much time now? I didn't go and see his body, you know. But I went with him, but he got a big stab in the night and he got a good stab in the neck. Big stab in the neck. So I don't walk on knife, you're using a good stab he get in the neck. I know, boy, I know what stab she get in. I can't tell you. Because he leave from here and run straight home by me. I live about, see what I hear about, I live over here. So he come about 1:30 to 2 minutes to 2. But the man can cry, my man shock. Only blood down and in shock, he can't talk.
He had blood on him, I think.
Red blood.
In other news, a prominent member of the 4th Jenner team and leader of the Kandahar gang was gunned down in St. James this morning. Darnell Singh of Bombay Street, St. James, along with other members of his gang, were cutting cable wires at Bombay Street in the vicinity of the bridge around 3 a.m. when a lone gunman dressed in a hoodie approached them and fired several shots. Singh was killed. Residents said that Singh and his gang was responsible for robberies and shootings in the area, and it had them living in a self-imposed curfew. And a 34-year-old woman identified as Stephanie Calbio of Carenage was stabbed to death during an altercation with another woman yesterday. During the altercation, the woman, Chevelle Francis, 24 years old, dealt Calbio several stabs about the body. Calbio was rushed to the St. James Medical Hospital where she died. The suspect has been detained at the Carenage police station. And a WASA worker was shot at WASA's headquarters in St. Joseph around 7:30 this morning. Police said gunmen drove into WASA's car park and shot the worker. State police fired on the gunman who drove off. The wounded worker is now at hospital. And National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines says the rise in crime in Trinidad and Tobago is of concern to the government. With the country's murder rate at 197, Minister Hines admits getting a handle on crime is not an overnight fix. The National Security Minister says the TTPS has assured that increased patrols, especially in hotspot areas, will be heightened.
Insofar as the crime situation is concerned, it is horrendous. It is mind-blowing. We are told that there are about 12,000 illegal firearms in this country. From intelligence, the gatherers of intelligence surmise that that is the amount. Some of us feel it might be more. But the idea is to get them.
Finally, on the international scene, a new warning about a summer surge of COVID across the U.S. Infections have been rising, almost doubling in the last months, and some experts fear that these numbers can be even higher. We have this ABC News clip to tell us more.
We're seeing some alarming numbers across nearly the whole country. In 45 states and territories, cases have jumped more than 10% in the last week. And these are just the cases that we know about. Some experts fear, because more and more people are testing at home or not testing at all, that these case numbers are underreported and that this incoming wave that we are seeing could be even bigger than the statistics suggest. Hospital admissions, they are jumping to up 10% nationwide. And adding to the problem, thousands of healthcare workers in California have walked off the job. Here at Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles, union workers are demanding higher pay and safer working conditions. The hospital saying it will remain fully operational through this strike because they're bringing in supplemental workers. Now, we are 2.5 years into this pandemic, and we are nearing another grim milestone. This country is expected to surpass 1 million COVID deaths in the next week.
And that was the 4 o'clock news on the streets, 919 FM, and online, Facebook and YouTube. Recapping the headlines. The body of 2-year-old Kamani Francis is found in the Guapo River. A mother and her 12-year-old son are stabbed to death in Pinal. Gang boss killed in St. James. WASA worker shot at head office compound in St. Joseph. And internationally, warnings of a summer COVID surge as infections rise. Do enjoy your afternoon and continue to be safe. I am Vanessa Thomas. Miss Aisha Wells, the Queen of Talk. She's up next.
News from the street. News from the street. 919fm.com.
Unity Fest, the best music event in town. Jah Melody, Zebulon, Gongsman, Ricky Ramuta, Trinidad Killer, Cyprian Rhythm Section, DJ Awesome Production Song, Black Chariot, Selector Coach MC Duke from the Sheet 919 FM, hosted by yours truly MC Duke. This Saturday the 14th of May at Cyprian Deltown Spaniard. Make it a date, don't be late. Admission only $100. You pay more at the door. Unity Fest this Saturday, Cyprian Deltown Spaniard. Don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Smoke, drink, I love my girl to some reggae.